Hi everyone, welcome to the LVLing Up Vodast. If you recognize the face on the screen, you will see we've got Matt Raad back from the eBusiness Institute. And this is our first part 2 interview. We talked about so much in part 1 that we thought we didn't even talk about the nitty gritty of what you and Liz do at eBusiness Institute. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, for anyone who's tuning in who didn't watch part 1, you can absolutely, I'm sure you're going to learn a mountain of things from Matt, but part 1 is also very interesting. So go back to the episode previous, check it out. But for anyone who's just jumping in at part 2, Matt, do you want to give us a very quick overview of what you do?
So we buy and sell websites. Been doing this for quite a long time, but we also teach people how we've made money online. And so we've got a big community of people here in Australia who buy and sell websites for a living. And in particular, what we do is teach people how to exit their PAYG jobs and do this full time working from home. We have a lot of work at home mums. I mean, because that's our story. That's how we started when we first had our kids. It was just a fantastic way to work from home, own multiple businesses, because we've always bought and sold businesses. And so, yeah, these days we're very lucky. The online space is where it's at. The market is absolutely booming. And it's a lot easier than what it was when we started over a decade ago.
Absolutely. So I want to get there. I want to talk about how you got into this trade and then what's it like now. But for anyone who's remembering what we talked about in part 1, Matt and Liz have had a very interesting journey. Zoologists by trade, you wouldn't pick it. Red kangaroos, I remember, were your special subject. And that was down in New South Wales. And then, at quite a young age, I suppose, out of university, bought their first manufacturing bricks and mortar business. And then over a 10-year period, it all sounds easy in hindsight, but I'm sure there was lots of learnings, lots of struggles, and ended up, at the precipice of this .com era of being online, and had that fantastic foresight, I suppose, to jump on the bandwagon early, and you now have the rewards of it. So that's, I suppose, go back, watch part 1. But that's how we got to eBusiness Institute. So tell us, this whole vodcast is about people who do something strategic or out of the box. So how did you guys make that, dare I say the word, pivot, or that shift into the online space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. How it came about, we were buying and selling bricks and mortar businesses, and then our kids came along, and what Liz decided to do was, Liz at first got online, and we actually put it off for a couple of years. We'd heard about this online space, and we could see how powerful it was for making money, and because basically we sell information online. That's what or advertising space. That's a really simple model that we run. And even back then, we still do exactly the same thing 10 years later. This is what we've been doing for a decade now. But at first, we could see how it worked, but technically we didn't know how to make it happen. Like a lot of people probably listening here, we didn't grow up with computers. I wasn't good with them. I was technophobic. I'm not into that sort of a thing. And it was technologically, it was very difficult. But then we decided this is too good an opportunity. And basically how it came about, Liz started building her own website first, and it took ages to get going, but it worked, and it was phenomenally successful for her. She sold an ebook online. It worked really well. This is why we've got our daughter was born. And then she said, Liz is a lot more impatient than me. She goes, there's got to be a quicker way of doing this. This sucks. It's hard work building up, because back then it was hard to build a website and everything and build it up. She goes, why don't we just do what we've always done? Let's just go and buy websites. There's got to be some way of buying websites. And back then, hardly anyone did it. But that's our background, buying and selling businesses. And we just treated websites as businesses. So we just looked around and we started private approaching people. We just email people, reach out to them and just say, hey, we want to buy you. It's like, are you interested? And it worked really well. So you could buy quite small websites. You still can even now. It does not like bricks and mortar businesses. So it's a hell of a lot easier than bricks and mortar businesses. We didn't have to, and we weren't buying everyone thinks about when you own a website, they immediately think of an e-commerce type website where you've got to own stock and basically you sell physical products, but online with your website. We do none of that. We're just buying websites that are basically, they're just content sites and they drive traffic. So we don't have to invest lots of money into inventory. So, and it worked incredibly well for us, very quick compared to bricks and mortar businesses, very leveraged in terms of time by buying these websites. And I guess, that's where we start. The rest is history, as they say. And we found it a lot easier than bricks and mortar, that's for sure. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. And I've got a question for you, just from my own understanding, and I'm sure there's people watching this going, how does it work? Are you simply just buying the website, or are you buying the whole business?
Good question. And yeah, we get asked that all the time. We're buying the website.
Okay.
So it's a money-making system, though. So typically the sites we buy have, they're like a billboard online. So basically they're just a content site. So they'll be around things like how to cure acne, or we've got one on pigeon racing, which we know nothing about pigeon racing, even though we're zoologists and stuff, but it just sells an ebook. It's $45. So all we do is, when we bought that site, it's just this big website. I'm kind of trying to visualize it for your listeners.
And there's big website.
Yeah, and there's lots of content. There's lots of articles on there about racing pigeons and stuff, and how to raise them and how to make them better. There's all this free content. So when people go to Google, our site will come up and they'll click onto it. And then when they're there, if they click on an ad, we get paid. Or if they buy our ebook, we get paid. So that's how we make money off the majority of our websites.
So the content is static. There's not like some other business owner putting new content in all the time.
Oh, we add in new content, but when we buy the website, we're buying that site that might have had 5 years worth of content put onto it.
Yeah.
So we're buying time, really. That's what we do. And when you think about it, so we're getting leverage on our time. So we also build websites as well. So we teach that at the eBusiness Institute. That's exactly, we've got two big key strategies that we use to help people create a really nice side income, which is either buy websites, because that buys you time, but you need money to do that. And we're in a very fast moving market at the moment. Things are booming. Websites are incredibly valuable now, which is good. There's massive opportunity. And the biggest opportunity out of that right now is to learn how to build your own website and then sell it off in a year or two's time. So for a big amount. And that's another strategy that we're really excited about. It's working incredibly well. And so but they're exactly the same kind of sites. We either buy them or build them, content sites, basically. So so people are saying, oh, you must be writing a lot. No, we don't write anything. I outsource all that. You just go and look it up. There's a site called upwork.com. It's a great spot to start. We get all our staff there. We get all our writers there. There's lots of other places you can go. It's just one we use. But I wasn't that good at English in school and everything, and here I am, my own content websites. It's kind of bizarre, like a little mini publisher, and I'm good at reading, but certainly not good at writing.
The technophobe who doesn't like writing
is
now doing.
That's right.
I feel like there's a lesson here. If we've got some key takeaways or some quotes from part 2 of this episode, it would be outsource where you need to.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had to. Actually, that's a really good point. To get leverage or to get the success that we needed, because we bought multiple sites and because Liz is a good writer, but I'm not. And you can't be sitting there writing this stuff yourself. You would never keep up. So for the sake of, if anyone's wondering, it's about $30 an article, or anywhere from $10 to $30, depending on the quality per article. So that's basically our investment into the website. So when we renovate a website, so we buy and renovate websites just like you would with real estate. So people do exactly the same strategy in real estate. It's the same kind of thing. We have a lot of real estate investors on our courses because it's the same kind of thinking. You're buying the rundown house in the street. We give it a basic makeover, not an in-depth. We're not dealing with the foundations or anything. It's got to have some potential there. We're looking for the diamonds in the rough. We tidy them up, typically by just adding new content and a bit of a makeover on the website, and then they're passive. Then we let them sit there. And so all that's outsourced when you know what you're doing. When you first start out, if you want to do this, we recommend you learn how to do it yourself. So then you do know how to, as you pointed out, get leverage by outsourcing, because you'll reach a point where you can't possibly do it all yourself. And the main thing that we do to drive these businesses is feed content onto the sites. It's pretty simple because that's outsourced. You do that in your Jimmy Jams while you're at home at night. You just send an email to your outsourcer, say, I need 5 more articles on these topics. And within the next week or so, they're written, and then we post them, and that's it.
And they're up, and you get that beautiful SEO benefits of having fresh content on there, and suddenly you're at the top of Google. I like it. Now, I don't want to take away from the workshops that you guys do, which sound amazing, which teach people all these things, but there will be people here going, I didn't even know you could do this. Where does one go? Don't reveal all your secrets, but where does one go to buy a website? And as you say, diamonds in the rough, what are you looking for when you're, thinking about buying a new one?
The first part of the question is really easy to answer. I'm just thinking how you answer the second part. So the first part, if you want to get started and check this stuff out, obviously do our free training course. We've got free training on our website, and read a bunch of the articles. But the main platform that we do recommend people begin on, because it's relatively safe, like if you're a total beginner, you wouldn't go out there and spend tens of thousands of dollars on a website, even though they look brilliant. It's a website called flipper.com. So it wasn't around when we first started doing this. It's developed over the years, but basically it's an online platform that is really cool. It's headquartered here in Australia, and it's the world's leading website broker. Yeah, so that we know the CEO actually literally just before this call was speaking to Flipper themselves, or on a Zoom call with them, because they present every year at our conferences and stuff. And that's not why I'm promoting them here, by the way. It's if you're a beginner, they're a great option to go and check out. Have a look on flipper.com. It runs like eBay. It's an auction site for websites. And it's a really good question. People say, I didn't even know this exists. These days, there are tons of website brokers out there now, just like business brokers. And there's some great ones like Empire Flippers, Quiet Light, FE International. So they're for much bigger deals. They do deals up into the tens of millions. Okay. But Flipper, you can still buy a website on Flipper for under $1,000. And that's where we recommend people start, so they can learn how to do this.
Oh my God. All right. So I love your real estate analogy before. Just like you buy a house, you renovate it, and then you flip it. So Flipper is where you want to go if you just want to check it out and have a look. Now, part 2 of the question, Matt, was, okay, you're on there. There's probably a long list of websites, I imagine. Yep. Where do we start? What are we looking at?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's what we specialize. That's what we love teaching. We've got a whole strategy about how we do that. And we do outline that in our training. We've got a free masterclass, and we go through it like in quite a lot of detail about how and what the sort of sites are that we look. And we share a whole bunch of actual examples of the sites that we've bought and our clients are buying. But in a nutshell, we are trying to find those diamonds in the rough. And basically what we're looking for is sites that have either good existing profits, even though they'll be quite small when you're buying a site under $1,000, or what we call good traffic. So lots of eyeballs coming to the website. And we're looking for sites in good niches that are what we call evergreen. So we can expect them to still be around in 5 years' time. So there's lots of websites that you can buy that are based around, say, I don't know, like something topical like iPhone 10s or whatever. And there'll be an affiliate site for those, and you'll get a commission if people click on ads or whatever. We don't recommend those, because when iPhone 11s or 12s or 13s come out, they're gone. We're looking for sites typically in the classic online niches are health, wealth, and happiness. And what the real secret is to what we do online, the content sites, we're always taught this by mentors of ours, or we kind of self-taught this to ourselves as well. We realized back in a decade ago, when people first started going online, what they were really using the internet for, in terms of being able to make money, is looking for answers to questions. So
we still do that. I think it's called Dr. Google.
yeah, that's right. And So that's how we make our money. So when in terms of our search criteria, the sort of sites that Liz and I buy are ones where people are looking for answers. So they want to know, this sounds weird, but we use this as a teaching example all the time, is what are the best chainsaws to buy for 2021? That's a question, best chainsaws 2021. So what we do is we put a website up, we answer that question, and then at the end of the article, it's as simple as saying, hey, these are the 5 chainsaws we reckon are best for 2021. Click on this link and you'll go over to Amazon and you can buy it there. So as soon as they click on that link, they're cookied to us. And if they buy the chainsaw on Amazon, which they often do because Amazon's a selling machine, we don't have to sell them the actual chainsaw. We've just sent the traffic to Amazon and we get a commission for that, anywhere between 4 to 8% of the sale, which doesn't sound a lot, but it adds up to a lot of passive income because we haven't had to fill a warehouse full of chainsaws. All we've done is sent the person over there. So coming back to the sort of sites we're looking to buy, we're looking for ones where people are asking questions. So it might be, what are the best products? How do I get my racing pigeons to win races? So, they Google that sort of stuff in.
That's a huge sport. I think in Hong Kong, someone comment below, it's huge.
Yep.
And I don't know what your other listeners are, I should say our listeners are thinking, but for me, it's always, why is my toddler something?
Yes.
So I'm on all the mum sites.
I was just about to say mum sites. We own sites in the work at home mum space because, or the parenting niche, because people are always looking at, how do I raise my children? Health niche is a classic. How do I cure acne? Yes. That's always been a long-term winner for all of us and our clients. The other big niches that we love are, especially after COVID, is, and we've been talking about this for a decade, it's a really awesome niche, is pets. Anything to do with pets. And it's all boom. So we have clients now who, they own pet sites and then, they bought them before COVID and they're making like $500 a month off these websites just passively. Now they're making, one of them, I think, is around $5,000 a month of simple little websites that answer questions around pets. How do I train my dog? How do I, toilet train the dog? How do I stop my dog from barking? All that sort of stuff. The volumes of people searching for that sort of content now has just gone through the roof. Everyone's online.
Wow.
And so there's obvious opportunities there. Wherever there's, what we've learned in business, wherever there's traffic, there's opportunity to make money. And online, it's a no-brainer. It's 24/7. People are Googling stuff all around the world and they're looking up questions. If you can get into the finance niche, it is absolutely, now that's a lot more competitive, but you think about finance, everyone's learning, how do I get richer? Or how do I get a home loan? Or what's the best home loans out there? It's all lots of questions. They're all typing in questions around finance. Now there's lots and lots of finance companies out there that are willing to pay for those leads. And we're talking big money, like $200 a lead, which I don't know whether that sounds like a lot of money to people outside of our industry. It is a lot. So most of the leads we get paid at anywhere from like 50 cents through to $5, say. And that's pretty good. You can make a lot of money off that because you multiply that by thousands, 24/7 for the next 5 years or 10 years.
Globally, by the way.
Yeah, globally. That begins with A and ends in a lot that you can, of money that you can make. If you are in the finance niche and you have a site that you're able to rank and get leads, we're suddenly 10xing that. We're up into the hundreds of dollars per lead and very valuable, and they become incredibly valuable assets. This is another thing that we talk about. Websites are no longer just a pretty online brochure which advertises your business. This is literally like online real estate. So you can buy and sell it, you can build it, develop it yourself, and then sell it off. It's just another asset class now. And I mean, Liz and I have been saying this for the last 10 years or last decade, but now I think in the way I think one big thing that the pandemic's done for us, when we're any of us online, we've realized it's brought the next 5 years into just 6 months. And we are certainly seeing that now when it comes to websites. It's a really exciting space. And I think for so long, people have been thinking, I've got to buy real estate. as an alternative asset or as an investment class. Now I think people are finally realizing, oh, wow, websites are an alternative investment class as well. And it's actually pretty simple once you know what you're doing. We have complete, absolute beginners do this stuff. Learn, okay, it takes time to learn it. But once you've learned it, we've got plenty of clients that do this full time now. They've chucked in their jobs and they're living in rural areas or, not in the major cities, and they make money working from home off their laptops, owning websites that generate money off clicks, basically. That's it.
This is fantastic.
Answering questions for people. And they outsource it. None of them are writers either. We use places like Upwork. Just manage it. Yeah.
That is brilliant. And so I've got a background in finance and stockbroking before I became a consultant and strategist. And so talking about how to, make your dollar stretch and invest it really excites me. Don't keep it in the bank anymore, everyone. If you're thinking that, the interest rates are far too low. But just a small example of a real case that's happened to me lately on a much smaller scale, but just a domain name. I purchased one, I think, on special through GoDaddy last year for $10. I logged on because the renewal is due in June, and it's now valued at $924.
All right.
Nothing with it. It's just a domain name with a .com.au, URL, and I don't even know the percent of the growth of that, but that's incredible for a $10 investment.
Yes,
so there is money online. I can't
absolutely. And that's the other thing people don't realise. That brings up another point. You said you did nothing to it and you logged in the account and all of a sudden it's worth, 10x or, more than that. But people don't realize websites are actually semi-passive. People think, you work online and you're working constantly. You can if you want. You can work on these 9 to 5 if you want. But the vast majority of our clients buy these sites, they're busy like anyone listening here. They either run their own businesses or they're in professional roles. So they're pretty busy with their lives, or they're raising kids. That's even more busy. And so we have a lot of mums on our course, stay-at-home mums and stuff. What my point is, you can just park these things. If life gets in the way, that's the beautiful thing about these assets. They're just sitting there and you come back to them and do a bit of work on them probably once a year or once every couple of months or whatever. It's not like it's a 9 to 5 thing. And that's why websites are so fantastic, is that you can literally sit there in the evenings after the kids have gone to bed and you've got some spare time in your life, because this is how we grew our business. This is literally what we did. You know what it's like when you're raising 2 young children. There's a lot going on in your life. And so when you get those spare moments, you can jump onto your website, log in, do a little bit of work, and then just leave it if you get busy. So they are semi-passive. And I think one of my favorite examples out of our community, and you can see these interviews on our website. There's heaps of interviews like this. It's actually a young couple who don't have kids yet, but they started with us. And when we get people learning with us, the first thing we get people to do is just buy a small little website under $1,000 to learn on. So Nathan and Alexa bought this little site for $1,000. It's literally $980, I think it was, on Flipper. And it was called Curd Nerd. And you want to know what it was about? It's about making cheeses. So all it is, literally all it is this simple website where people, making cheese is a real passion hobby for people around the world, it turns out. And so people look up, how do I make cheese? Or, they want information about how do I make cheese? And so their site ranks quite well. It comes up. And it was only making whatever it was, I don't know, like $50 a month or something, but it was a learner. So it's kind of like buying a textbook to learn off. And they only worked on it a couple of times. They did our renovation process. They bought this. They saw that it was a diamond in the rough, and they realized there's traffic. It ticks Matt and Liz's checklist that they have, and people are looking for information on this. So they bought it. They renovated it. All they did was just change the look of it a bit, tidied it up, put some better ads on there. That's all how they made money, just off ads. And they put new content. Now they parked that website for a couple of years, and once a year they would work on it. And then they're now traveling around, they're a younger couple, they're living the laptop lifestyle. So they decided to sell it, and they sold it, wait till you hear this, for $17,000. just recently.
From a $900 investment.
Yes, yeah. And that they parked and didn't work on. So $17,000. And we've got another story exactly the same that's just happened in the last 2 weeks, where another website making a couple of $100 was sold for $16,000, again, a starter site. So there's several exciting stories out there, besides the obvious of 10xing their money, which is the dream when you're in as an investor. But it comes back to my point. This was a semi-passive website that they learned off. They parked it off to the side, and like you, they logged basically on a call with me. Like you know, they were saying they want to travel around the world. They want to roll the money into other assets. Now, these two have quit their jobs. So, Nathan was an electrician, and Alexa was working, I think, in the travel industry. So obviously, there's no more. That's gone. So these guys, what their strategy is to buy these diamonds in the rough websites, content sites. Exactly what we teach, fix them up, and then just either keep them there as a portfolio that generates cash flow for them, or they sell them off and roll the money into bigger deals. So they've went with that $17,000. They've bought quite a few sites, but they bought another $20,000 website, which will become what's called a big authority site, and because it's all about gardening. And so there's lots and lots of content on there. So it was already set up. This site, that they bought, it's been around for 5 years or so. There's thousands of visitors every month. It was the same as Curtin. There was lots of content on there, but they just recognized the bargain. They recognize this is a diamond in the rough. And so this is the exciting thing. People don't even realize this exists. So you can imagine this is a really cool way to make money. And so the other thing where it gets more exciting is we're in a rising market. So you can also build these sort of websites as long as you're happy to wait a year or two. If you can get a site making $500 a month passively, that's probably worth in the current market anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000. So you can make that part-time in your spare time. Sure, you've got to wait a year or two to SEO it, but that's the sort of marketplace we're in. And that's what's happening out there. There's people doing this all the time. This is their hobby. We've interviewed our clients. It's just what, like you said, people don't realize it exists. That's the phenomenal thing.
Don't tell them, because I want to do it.
Oh no, you would not believe the abundance out there in this marketplace. It is. Yeah. There's literally, I think, how many websites are on the planet? There's billions of websites. On Flipper alone, I think at our workshops, they say the stats. I think it's every day there's at least 1,000 listings of websites on there. That's just one brokerage website. Wow. We are talking, this is an unlimited market. This is not like bricks and mortar world. It's unlimited.
That is amazing. And I think as well, what's interesting about this industry is that demand is, it's not exhaustive, in that if you buy a house, only one person can buy that house. And
that's true.
One person rent it. Whereas I can be on 100 websites today if I want to, as traffic.
Yep.
So
that's right.
Demand is only ever going to grow, and it's not limited by how many people are in the world.
Yeah, that's right. It's a 24/7 market. That's what I think for Liz and I, that excited us when we first got online. I guess it sounds obvious in hindsight, but because we come from a bricks and mortar background of manufacturing businesses and stuff, when we got online, we're kind of like, oh, wow, this stuff works while we sleep. Not only that, it's 24/7. Now, in our manufacturing business, we had exported and stuff, so we had enjoyed a worldwide market, but this was kind of way more leverage. It was literally worldwide instantly to every country on the planet, or anyone that had access to Google could access our businesses, all of us, our websites.
Absolutely.
Now, pigeon racing, we have people from all around the world visiting that site. I think the main traffic is obviously America, but then the next most traffic is the Philippines.
Yes.
And then it's other, because pigeon racing is really big in Southeast Asia. It's huge, like you were saying. So imagine that. Here, we know nothing about this thing, and all of a sudden we own this site where people are accessing it 24/7 from all around the world. And that's the light bulb moment for us. That's where you get the massive leverage over time. So that compounds over a period of a couple of years. It is a pretty exciting space to be in.
Amazing. Well, I'm inspired. Hopefully those watching this are just as motivated as me. If just give us a little overview of your training, Matt. Is it just in person, or you do online as well?
It's all online.
It's all online.
Yeah, it's all online. So we
tell
run.
Me that. I wanted to come visit.
Yeah, well, you can. When we get back to running live events, but we've always had online courses because we're an online business, and then once a year we have an annual conference where we get people from around Australia. So come along to our conferences. Obviously, they're virtual now, but all our courses are online. You can check them out at the ebusinessinstitute.com.au. But in particular, we've got the free training, the master. I'd highly recommend. It's about a 90-minute. We call it a masterclass, where we go through in detail. We show you the sites we buy and everything. So if you want to get into this and just learn how to do it yourself, just do that masterclass and then check out sites like Flipper. But if you want inspiration, go and read some of the interviews that we've done with some of our clients.
Yes.
We've got awesome clients in our community who are doing really well with this, and there's lots of opportunities here at the moment, in building websites as well. But as you know, Jasmine, it's the way of the future. The digital space, I think you need digital skills. So Liz and I are really passionate about that, teaching total beginners these digital skills. And we keep it very simple because it can be, on the surface, it can look really complex. It's actually not once you understand a bit, but it all starts with a little bit of knowledge.
I love it. Now, as always, this happens every time I do one of these. But I've heard your transformation story and your strategic out of the box thinking. And then I always ask people, well, how have you helped other people transform? And that's your bread and butter now. That's what you guys do.
Yep.
You teach other people. So I love it. I love that we got the chance to do a 2-part series of our interview. I've learnt so much, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you're feeling as inspired as I am. I will make sure that the eBusiness Institute website address is down here, so you can click straight away if you haven't already. And please get online. I can guarantee you're going to get a better return. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but I don't know many real estate assets, stock assets, or managed funds that'll give you return like this in a year. So consider it, have a look, and then reach out to Matt if you want to do some training.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that, Jasmine. That's awesome.
Thanks for your time, Matt, and thanks for tuning into the podcast, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much.